PlayStation Drive is starting. While you wait, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon on YouTube to be notified of future goodness. If you enjoy our show, we'd love it if you gave us a 5-star review or rating on your podcast service of choice. To continue the conversation, join the Carpool Gaming Discord, where you can find a wholesome community to have a chit-chat with. For some exclusive content, you can also support us on Patreon. And finally, don't forget to check out the Carpool Gaming website for an awesome range of merch. Links to all that and more are in the show notes, but without further ado, let's get revved up for the PlayStation Drive. Whoa!
What's good, everybody? Welcome on in. This is the PlayStation Drive episode 170. Only 30 more episodes until episode 200, my friends. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ryan, and I'm joined, as always, by Fulia, Matt, and Farmer Ron. How is everyone doing this lovely, lovely Sunday evening or Sunday morning, depending on where you are in the world?
It's a nice Sunday night.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. For audio listeners, apparently there's a whole thing going on in the chat about Ron being a farmer, and I just don't know what's going
potato
on.
Farmer.
But I felt I needed to address this. You know,
Ribo
Thank you for addressing
on me.
it.
Ribo snitching on me is what he's doing.
Oh, so you are a potato farmer then?
I'm a farmer. I'm a farmer because I started playing Stardew a bit. There's no potatoes.
Oh,
no
did you
potatoes.
really?
Just a tad.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Just a tad, just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Who are you romancing?
I don't even know yet. I told you. I just I dabbled. That's it.
Ah, you gotta get in there, man. Come on, you gotta romance some people. Come on.
I can't
I'm
get
excited.
too much into it. I can't get too much into it. I got games I gotta finish.
Oh, I'm gonna ask lots of questions when it comes up to your segment. Do you know that?
You're gonna be disappointed.
So happy.
The best part
God.
is the fact that on the document, Ron doesn't even have Stardew Valley written down.
I
as
haven't
one
played
of his
enough
games.
to really count it. That's the thing. I
How
kind of got in there
dare
for a
you.
couple minutes, and I was just like, let me pause on this.
Well, you know what?
He's probably just setting up his little shindig, so give him a minute.
I'm
be a
just
little
really happy that Ribo pointed this out, because otherwise we would have just blown past this. We would have not known this was
Ribo,
Yes.
we're gonna have to
Thank
have
you,
a talk.
Ribo. Thank you. So
Ron's-
excited.
Ron's
Finally.
running mate coming in for Clutch once again.
He did. He snitched on me. It's all right.
Thank you, Ribo.
And of course, lots of positivity in the chat about time. Ron says BA Mac, and of course, romance
Yes,
the
whatever,
potatoes. The Fanbone Johnny. Ribo, of course,
Romance
says,
potatoes.
"I do what I can for the people." Thank you, Ribo. Thank you, Ribo.
That's not on the campaign ticket, Ribo. Sheesh.
Well, speaking of the campaign ticket, I'm hearing a knock at my door because someone's campaigning for some housekeeping, because we got brand new patrons, folks, over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting off with Toxic, who is now a gold member. So shout out to Toxic at the gold membership tier. Hot Gamer Boy Summer for joining the ad-free tier after checking out the trial last week. And TheDonRob, who's also swinging on in there at the gold tier. Huge shout out once again to not just our new patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, but also all of our existing patrons as well. Y'all rock, and we appreciate you very much. Speaking of the old Patreon, of course, we have recent Patreon content we got to get to, starting off with the week of Fulia, apparently. Somehow this happened.
Is.
I don't know how this happened this way, but I guess we planned this. So Fulia, your Pants episode is out now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we've got a new episode of Campfire that's live now with you and Seth.
Yep.
And then there's a new show that I want you to tell the folks about. The Mini Indie Van. Please tell us all about it.
So the Mini Indie Van is a short indie podcast for the Carpool Gaming realm or universe of podcasts.
Carpool Gaming Cinematic Universe.
Cinematic Universe, yes. And yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to have, a podcast dedicated to indie games, and it'll be nice and short. It'll be, between half an hour to 45 minutes worth of indie game talk. I'll have a co-host with me. It'll be a monthly podcast as well. And hopefully it'll be starting in the new year. So looking forward to January of 2025. But if you have any feedback on the podcast right now, it's currently only a real episode on Patreon. So for Patreon supporters, if you have listened to it, would really appreciate the feedback. And I've already received quite a lot of positive feedback, and it's been really lovely to hear everybody, being really, really excited for the concept of having an indie podcast here at Carpool Gaming. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the journey that will be the mini indie van.
I love it. I love the diversification of the profile too, because like I said, like we're, all of us usually play at least, a few indie games, but you, Fulia in particular, play so many indie games that I'd love to see just you going all out with a podcast like this. So
yeah. So it's slowly sort of like I'm slowly getting it all together and planned out. Like what the structure that you would have heard me talk about in the episode is not set in stone, so it might change. But yeah, we got to talk about indies here, and the fact that also, like, I know that the Backtrackers community, they do a lot of indie gaming too. So I know that a lot of those members are very excited to hear that there's going to be an indie podcast. So it'll be really fun.
Excellent. Well, Sean Capri has a question from the chat. Speaking of new podcasts, he asks, when will Ron finally launch his new podcast, The All-Wheel Drive?
If it was up to me, I already would have done it.
I mean, it could be.
It's a good
be all
name.
about farming.
It's a good
Just
name.
give me the keys. Give me the keys. I'll handle it.
Ron, you know dang well you have the keys. Anytime, man.
Oh, no. All right. Well, that's fine. I guess I'll do some scouting for some hosts then.
Well, speaking of some keys, we got to hop in our car, grab our 8-tracks, pop them into our car, because it's time for the playlist. Time to talk about the games that we played this week. Starting it off with Ron, who apparently played a game that wasn't on this list. But you know
Let's
what?
go.
You played something else that you can tell us about.
I will mention that, yes, I did start Stardew, but I haven't done enough to really say much about it. So we'll have to wait and see. If I'm able to play some more this upcoming week, maybe next week I'll have more to say. Trails Through Daybreak, I'm still in the intermission. I did not get a chance to play a lot during the week, so there's not much progress in that. So it's very, very short playlist update for me.
Okay. Nice. I mean,
Wait.
Oh, hold on.
boy.
Come on.
Oh, boy. What
Come
you
on.
want, Matt? What you want?
You're just gonna hop over Stardew? Slow down. You played a few minutes. Come on. Name of the farm. Don't you get to name your dog?
Start
What's the first thing
screen.
you want to grow?
Start screen.
Okay.
Make character. Let me stop here.
That's it. That's all you did? No.
I
You
told
didn't see your house yet?
No, I haven't done anything like that. I told you. I stopped. I was like, you know what? No. No. I don't need to do this tonight. Let me play something else. And then I didn't get a chance to even play anything. I ended up watching The Foundation and got stuck on that. Sorry.
I have a question for you, Ron. Was this because you're currently playing Tales Through Daybreak still, but was this a wheel game, or did you just suddenly decide to play Stardew?
I decided to play it. Me and Robbo were talking about it at one point in time, and he kept talking about it. And I was just like, you know what? I have it. Let me go ahead and just download it. And, started dabbling.
Now, the people are outcrying for this, Ron, because B.A. Mac makes a good point. If Fulia is obligated to God of War, then Ron must continue Stardew. If that's true.
Brittany, that's where you're wrong, because I didn't do a tournament bracket. So, there you go.
You bring up a good point. That is good legal precedent. Oh, my God. Starthina asking what farm layout Ron chose.
That's what I want to know. Like, paint us a picture. What do you want to do?
I can't remember.
Oh, my God. You're killing us. What a tease.
I mean, you sound like me when I played Stardew, where I was like, sure, I'm just picking a bunch of options. I don't really care.
What? Oh my God. It's like
Man,
a
I
dream come
promise.
true.
When I start it next time, I will extra pay attention just so I can give you details. Okay? I got you.
Yes.
There you go.
I want. Yeah.
When I play again.
Yes. I expect like a full half hour painting a picture like I'm in the screen with you.
This is
I know
just you painting
exactly
the
what you're looking like, what you're farming, who you're romancing, the weather. I want a perfect picture of it.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm expecting.
Rival, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to
You
kill
got
you.
me so
Rival.
excited when you mentioned the weather that I'm like, I
I'm
need to hear.
so-
I need
No.
this update. I need to hear.
I
about
need to know what the weather
in
is
Stardew.
too.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference in the crops that you can grow. It's true.
Oh, this is going
I'm so
downhill
excited.
quick.
Yep.
Jesus.
You have no idea how happy
Father
I
and
am.
daughter farm coming soon. Confirmed.
I hadn't even told
Oh.
Kia that I was playing Stardew, so now she finds out. Now I'm going to be harassed by her too. This is great.
Yes.
I'm going to kill
Yes.
Ribo.
Good.
Excellent.
Well, Matt, it's your time to save Ron.
That's right.
From this.
That's right,
From
Matt.
the Stardew wing. Tell us what you played, man.
Well, I won't go too much into detail because it goes into our topic of the week. But I have officially abandoned Beyond Good and Evil. I'm very sorry. I know It's a backtrackers game. It is highly regarded. So brief synopsis is, Ron called it, the dated mechanics eventually got to me, and there's a few of them. Some of it is the stealth. A big part of it is where am I going and what am I doing. That's a big piece, and then the combat kind of gets a little bit janky, but I will go into it later. But yes, unfortunately, I have abandoned it. But that being said, I know objectively it is a very good game. I know why it's highly regarded, but for me, as somebody who is not good at the sneaky sneaks, this stealth game was not for me. So I did have to put a pause. I knew right away, just because, I'd come home after work and it's like, finally the kids go to bed. It's like, usually it's supposed to be like, yay, I can play video games for half an hour. This was like, all right, how am I going to sneak my way through this? And it was, kind of, yeah. That's how I knew. I was like, this is I really need to stop. I knew at that point it wasn't just like,
if you had played it 20 years ago, I think that you would have been all right. If you had played it 20 years ago.
If I played it 20 years ago, and quite frankly, less gaming options, right? Because I didn't have too many games in the backlog. Yeah, I probably would have stuck through and just
game
grinded through it.
design's come quite far 100%. Since then. So
yeah,
I do understand. I do understand though.
Yeah.
So, but that has allowed me to get back to my backlog, which I'm happy to say only has 3 games, friends. Just 3 games left.
That's not a backlog.
I don't know. I know it's like a post-it note or whatever.
I got
Crisis Core. Yeah, I got MGS 5. I got Crisis Core Reunion and Dragon Guard 3. So went with my gut and went for Crisis Core Reunion, Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, and I was a little apprehensive. All right, for those who are new to the show, my failed attempt at the Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth has broken my spirits. Not just for going after platinums, but just even with the Final Fantasy 7 world. I was a little bit apprehensive. I wasn't sure if I was ready, so I went in very cautiously. Set the bar low. If there's a few mini games or if something upsets me, it is what it is. But to my surprise, I really like it. Like, I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. It reminds me of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker for PSP on the Legacy Collection as well. Like, it's like this bite-sized version of the main game. Like, it's not loaded, it's not overwhelming in terms of like world design. It's just like it takes all the charm from the original game and then condenses it into like a very linear path. Like, you cannot get lost. There is no exploring in Crisis Core.
Well, it's not
Reunion.
an open world game. Like, it's more of a it's like a very linear style third person action RPG.
It's what I needed. It truly is what I needed after the year I went through. So I really like it. And it's like I said, it's got all the charm. It's got the characters, the music. The combat's got a bit of a twist. I don't know if I fully understand it with the
roulette system.
What's it called, Ryan? The roulette system. Like, is that RNG the whole time?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Okay. There are like certain story battles that you'll do where it's not RNG, but for the most part, it's RNG.
Yeah. So if anybody hasn't played it, like, it's got a roulette system where this thing spins, and if you get all 3 matches, then you get cool stat buffs like unlimited MP, or I think that's how it gives you access to limit breaks. So it is very RNG based, but I really like it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And again, I know this because I come home or I wake up early and I'm like, yes, I get to go back into this world and just hop right into it. So really enjoying it so far. The only thing I can say is, and I'm okay with it, I don't know what the story's about, and I don't care. That's fine.
It'll get fine. Well, yeah, because it's basically it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, because you're playing as Zack, and you kind of learn about his story and also kind of a little bit more about Cloud's origin story. That's kind of what it's all about. It's got new villains in it, and the story kind of ties into the new remake story that they're doing, which is interesting. So because Matt, as you play through it, you'll pick up some things that then tie to certain things you saw in Rebirth that you might not have actually picked up on when you play it. For example, like Cicely, who is a character that wasn't in the original game, who was in Rebirth, she made her introduction in this game, as an example.
Look at that. Okay.
So, there's little things that you get to check out here that'll be callbacks to you, which I'm excited to talk to you about it after you finish it, because I also think Crisis Core is a really good game, and the portability factor and like the short burst windows is exactly what that game was designed for, because it was originally a PSP game, so it was originally a game designed to play on the go, where even though the story missions are a bit longer, you have like these 2 to 3 minute bite-sized missions that you can go do. And if you want to do a bunch of those to kind of fill up your time, you can do that too. So, yeah.
It's honestly perfect for me because sometimes I only got like 20 minutes to play, and it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna do the main mission. I'm just gonna grind through some optional missions, and it's fun. Like the combat is it's quite addictive. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So I'm not totally turned off from the Final Fantasy VII world, as this game has proven.
Nice. I mean, Yarden just points out as well. Anything is bite-sized when compared to Reunion. 100%. 100%. There's like barely
that's very
many.
true.
There's barely any mini games in this one too, so it's mostly just the bite-sized missions are the things that either can be kind of a turnoff for some people or not. So, but if you're enjoying them, then I think you're good. So,
I needed it.
yeah. Well, Fuya, how about you? I want you to delight us with what all the myriad of things, the cornucopia of things you played this week.
Yeah, so I played a couple of indie demos. One of them is called Culebra, and that is the aesthetic is very Paper Mario like, and it's really cool. And essentially you're in this sort of spirit realm essentially, and your characters are very sort of in the style of Paper Mario or Duck Detective, that sort of character design. And it's 2D, and it's really cute. So you go around helping people, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's really cool. I love the aesthetic of it all. Because I've been playing it on the PC, I did have a couple of crashes, unfortunately, and it was only the demo too. So I did have a couple of crashes, but I think it's just mostly because of the fact that my computer's just old and is having a hard time keeping up with all of the graphics power that some of these games need. So and that's a little unfortunate on my end. But hey, it's a pretty good game, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to play the demo for yourself. And I also played another demo called Tailside Cozy Cafe Sim. And this is a cafe management sim RPG indie game, which was something that I've been really looking forward to checking out. And essentially, you are managing a cafe out in the woods. You are a fox, and it's really cute. It's very cozy. You get to decorate the cafe as well. And there are some, options in terms of, how you answer some questions that the NPCs ask you, and that will determine where the story goes. And yeah, it's actually pretty cute, and I really like it. It's a very short demo. So yeah, there is that. Yes, Matt.
Oh yeah, you said it's an RPG, and you're a fox. Does that mean you get to engage in turn-based battles with unruly customers, or other things? Where's the RPG part at?
Matt, this is a cozy
Yes.
game. It's not there's no battles. You're making coffees for people. You're making and serving coffees. That is the game.
What do you do with unruly customers? Truly, what do you do with unruly customers? Unsatisfied
Throw
customers?
coffee in their face. I don't know.
At the moment,
Thank you.
the customers.
Do you?
The customers are little forest sprites. So they're the customers for the moment. Look, the demo it's only a 20-minute demo, so it didn't really give you too much to go off. It just gave you a basic idea of what to expect. They're still working on it, and hopefully they'll have a little bit more content for a new demo later down the track. But yeah, at the moment, that's literally all they gave us. So
Okay.
So in the main game, you throw the coffee in their face. Got it.
I don't know.
Looking forward to
it.
Well, that's what I want from this game.
Sure.
Kiku?
I've also played a bit more Tiny Glade. Tiny Glade is just a really nice chill time. I think I've been playing that sort of after work to just sort of relax to and just build. It's just sandbox building and it's really sweet. And I've been seeing so many amazing people with their designs and how creative they can be. I've seen a lot of people already implementing designs from pop culture, like Studio Ghibli movies, in terms of the buildings that have come out of there and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually been really cool and very inspiring too, to see whether or not I could do something similar. So I've been really enjoying that as just a chill time game. I will also say I have finally finished Murder on the Orient Express.
Finally. You've been talking about this
Well done.
game as long as Ron's been talking about Trails Through Daybreak.
Almost.
This game has taken me over 15 hours to complete. Which technically it wouldn't have if it wasn't for the fact that I was making it as content, and also if it wasn't for the fact that I was getting stuck in some of these puzzles or trying to figure out what I'm missing in terms of like investigations in areas. So I think that's what made me play it a little bit longer than I should have. Just because of the fact that, yeah, it's not as challenging. It's not difficult. It's just, there aren't very many prompts to say you've missed something or, go over here or whatever. But there is a really good hint system, which I really, did appreciate. So if I was stuck on something, at least I can go to the hint system and be like, okay, what am I missing? How am I supposed to figure this out? And it'll give you a hint on how to do it. So that's been pretty good. So yeah, Murder on the Orient Express, done.
Excellent. It sounds very old school in its game design from what you're telling me here.
It's, the other thing is though, like, it's also got extra content too. Like, I thought that when you figured out something on the train and that was it, it wasn't. It did start rolling credits, but then it was like a fake rolled credits.
Oh.
And then was like, no, we still need to find one more killer. And I'm like, what?
That's kind of like Persona in a way, because Persona, for folks that don't know, has a myriad of alternate endings. That'll happen if you like make the wrong dialogue choice. It'll then be like, it'll go to the credits and then with like some bad text or something, and then it'll kind of re-roll back, and then you kind of pick up from there kind of thing. Sounds kind of like that in a way.
But it's been a really good story. So I really enjoyed playing through that game. So that's done. Also making my way through Astrobot. I have almost 100%ed the Lost Galaxy. I think I'm 2 planets away from 100%ing the Lost Galaxy. Okay. So that's that's a work in progress.
Okay. Are you actually going for the platinum, Fulia?
I am.
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
I know that once I've 100%ed the planets and found all of the little bots, I still have to do extra little bits and pieces on the crash site with the bots.
Right.
Like taking photos and all that sort of stuff and trying to trigger something. Because during my playthrough, every time I've unlocked bots, I'll go up to those bots to see what they do. So I'll interact with them. Mm-hmm. And some of them have popped trophies for me just by interacting with them.
Yep.
But yeah, now I'm just I need to figure out what the rest of them is. So I might actually end up looking at the actual list of trophies that I've missed.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Last thing I will mention, and it's probably the one thing that everybody is waiting to hear from me about. I am continuing my playthrough of God of War 2018.
Just picking up that axe, throwing that axe.
Yes.
Excellent.
And I don't know how far I am. I don't know if I'm halfway. All I know is Atreus is saying that apparently our journey is almost to the end. But I don't know if I'm getting close to the end, because now the point where I'm at is we have to go back up to the summit.
Please believe him. Please believe him. He says you're almost done. Please believe him.
I don't think so.
Why would he lie about it? Why would he lie about it?
I feel like it's a trap. I think there's gonna be more.
It's a trap.
I've already hit the 15-hour mark on this game, and I don't even know like whether or not
15 or 50.
15,
1-5 or 5-0?
Yes, 1-5.
I don't think you're there yet.
I don't even think I'm halfway.
I'm sorry. I thought it was 50. Gamer. I was like, maybe. Okay, that's okay. But you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
Come on. Just imagine they're unruly forest forest coffee drinkers, and just throw the axe at them like you would throw coffee at them.
Matt.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean,
not how that works.
Stingray.
That's what I do when I play the game.
Stingray says, "Just keep going. Don't give up."
I'm not gonna put it down until I finish it. Until I roll credits, I'm gonna keep going.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Yeah. And that's it from me. That's all I've been playing.
Nice. It's a good list. List. Last from me. Played a bunch of games that I know Fulia would not touch with a 10-foot pole
I'm
because
I'm
It's
so excited for
October.
this.
Spooky week is finally here. Or I should say, I had a very
Yes.
spooky weekend. I watched a lot of horror movies this weekend, like VHS Beyond just came out on Friday, so I watched that. I played a bunch of spooky games, of course. It's been a very spooky weekend for me to kind of kick off October. So, of course, the Until Dawn remake came out this week from Sony. We got a first-party release this week, and it's okay. I mean, I love Until Dawn.
Oh.
I think Until
Okay.
Dawn is an awesome game. I didn't actually get through this all the way. I played until chapter 3, and I decided I was going to wait because this game's going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced day one. So I'm going to wait till the Pro comes out before I go through it. And because I do want to get the Platinum again, because I have the Platinum for Until Dawn already. And now I want to get the Platinum for Until Dawn, the remake. But so far, so good. Like, I think it's good. It's just, it's not as big of a remake as something like Resident Evil 2 or the remake I'm about to talk about, where for the most part, it pretty much plays the same way. The story kind of plays out the same way. There are some little added sections to the story, which is interesting.
Okay. Okay.
But I will also mention, holy crap, this game is gorgeous. Like, this game is really
Nice.
beautiful. They remade the game in Unreal Engine 5, and it actually looks very pretty. Especially the environments in particular look night and day different from the original game.
So you can tell the difference. Like, you, as somebody who's played it before, you can automatically see the big
Yes.
difference.
I could tell
Yes.
literally from the first, 5 seconds of the game how much of a difference it was.
Right.
Like, it's a huge difference as far as the visuals are concerned. So, and it's a little bit framey right now too, which is why I'm kind of like, I think the PS5 Pro version is going to kind of iron all that stuff out. So I'm going to wait for the PS5 Pro to come out in November because it's only a month away anyways, and then I'll play it then. So I can wait. But the other game I played came out last night at midnight, so I'm not very far in it. But Silent Hill 2 Remake is out, boys, and I am here to tell you, I'm going to preach the truth here. Silent Hill 2
And?
Remake is really good. It's really good. It's as
It
good
is,
as I
eh?
wanted it to be. Like, I wanted,
Wow.
when they announced Silent Hill 2 was being remade, I was excited but nervous that Konami would screw it up somehow, but excited that Silent Hill was just back in some way. And then they announced that Bloober team was attached to it. I was like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But then, as you guys might remember from us watching, because we did a live reaction to kind of the first gameplay trailer that was in like that first state of play it was in, I was pretty optimistic after that first trailer, where I was thinking that there was a chance that this game was going to be pretty good. But, reviews are out there as well. Reviews are really good for the game.
Reviews are good.
But ultimately, from my gameplay experience, as a Silent Hill 2 fan, this is exactly what I wanted them to do, where there's a lot of things in this game that are really true to the original experience, and they upgraded the things they needed upgraded, like the controls, like the camera, like the combat itself, because the combat in the original Silent Hill games on PS2 is very clunky and kind of hard to deal with. It's not great for people who are going to play those games for the first time. Yes, it's kind of made that way on purpose to kind of like up the tension a little bit. But the combat this time around is very reminiscent of something like Resident Evil 2 or 4, where it's third person behind the shoulder. You've got your standard melee weapons like Silent Hill is kind of known for. But then of course you've got your array of, ranged weapons like different pistols and different weapons. But the story itself, still really fantastic. And the new voice acting, I think, is pretty good. And this game is just really gorgeous. I will say one thing about the performance mode on this game is one of those performance modes that I would probably not recommend because it kind of is all over the place. Like, you can feel it unless you have a VRR TV, where the frame rate is kind of just like this, all over the place. Especially like there's a section early on in the game where you're going like room by room through this apartment building, and inside that apartment building the frame rate is just kind of all over the place at that point. But yeah, I love this game. I know Bugged Brian is mentioning some stuff in the Twitch chat talking about the kind of the reception from the Silent Hill community and how a lot of people are kind of writing some nasty stuff about this game. But I can tell you from someone who loves Silent Hill 2 that this game is exactly what I wanted it to be, and I couldn't be happier with the remake from what I've seen so far. And I already see your hand being raised, Matt. Go ahead with your question.
All right. I missed out on Silent Hill. I haven't played any of them. None of them. Now, you know my taste. I love this. The more spoopy, the better. Like I want it to be hard. Like Resident Evil 2 remake. I don't want inventory. Like I want limited inventory. I want to be spooked around with the environment. In your opinion, which one's better? Silent Hill 2 remake or Resident Evil 2 remake? And as somebody who's never played any of them, can I just jump in, or do I have to do some homework first?
So your first question, as far as whether or not it's better than Resident Evil 2 Remake, I think it's still too early to answer that question because I'm like 2 or 3 hours into the game at this point. Who knows? It might fall off a cliff towards the end, or they might have broken something or changed some boss and made it feel awful to play or whatever, right? So I think comparing it to that game is tough. Also, they are two very different types of games as well, because again, the melee combat, for example, adds something unique to the combat that makes it feel a lot different from something like Resident Evil. And there is in this game, at least so far anyways, from what I found, you're actually scrounging for ammo a lot, even on the normal difficulty. Like there's more of that survival element to it than something like Resident Evil 2, where even though Resident Evil 2 is a survival horror game, I felt in the remake I was never struggling for resources on the normal difficulty in the way that I am with this game. So, but again, it's like that you have melee weapons that don't break. So it's more useful than the knife in Resident Evil 2. Like you've got like a board with some nails in it essentially that you like whack down these monsters with. So that's
I like it.
I think it's too early to tell if it's a better game than Resident Evil 2. But I will say, like, I'm someone who prefers the original Silent Hill 2 over the original Resident Evil 2. So I will just put that in perspective. But first of all, the thing to know about this game, it's not connected really to any of the lore of the first game other than the setting. So you don't need to play any other Silent Hill games to play this one. Because essentially, like, with the first game, its true sequel was Silent Hill 3, which was kind of like did all the callbacks and it had a bunch of stuff that referenced the first game. But this game, the story is kind of on its own. It's like a standalone story. It's kind of like in a vacuum, essentially. Other than going to Silent Hill, the town. That's it. So
So
yeah.
Last question, I promise. Okay, 2025 is around the corner. I don't know what I'm going to buy right away, but everyone's saying, you know, Matt, you like spoopy games, so play Alan Wake Remastered, Alan Wake 2. Which one should I play? Alan Wake Remastered, Alan Wake 2, or Silent Hill 2 Remake? Or Until Dawn Remake? Or should I play Resident Evil 2 again? What do I do?
No, not again, Matt. Stop it.
Yeah, you can save Resident Evil 2 for later in the year, or you can play it this holiday.
Yeah, play something different.
When you're done your 3 backlog games, you can play Resident Evil 2 then. But no, with this game, I think this should be at the top of your charts, Matt. Because like I think you in particular would like this game a lot. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
The hype is going up there. All right. Thank you, Brian.
There's obviously other games that are coming out this fall that I know are going to be kind of higher on your list too. But I think this is going to be like one of the first things you play next year. Because from what I can tell right now, it's pretty dang awesome. And also a game I know that you will really enjoy. If you like Resident Evil, I mean, I'm going to throw it out there as well. Anyone who's watching or listening, if you like Resident Evil, the remakes, and you've never played Silent Hill before, start with this one. Play it. You're gonna love it.
All right, Ron, you're nodding your head a lot. Are you sold on this? Are you gonna play it?
No, I mean, I'm happy for Ryan. I mean, lucky enough, Silent Hill 2 ended up working out, man. When I saw the reviews from Open Critic, I was like, okay. Because like him, when I first saw the trailer, it was kind of like, oh, Konami, like, And then, like you said, Bloober Team, then you're like, But in that very first time that you got to see the gameplay of it, it looked really rough. But they went back and changed some things. And they bounced back, and hey, it ended up working out. So seeing him excited for it is good. I don't know. I played the first Silent Hill. I've never messed around with Silent Hill 2. I'm just not really into spooky games like that. But no, I'm excited for him.
Excellent. I'm glad you're excited for me, Ron. You know, God forbid, if it was just me that was excited for me, you know, that would probably make me feel a little bit more lonely.
I think Matt will enjoy it. I think he would enjoy that a lot more than he would Alan Wake. I'm not sure he would like Alan Wake, to be honest. At least not the first one.
I was going to say, I'm actually very surprised that Matt's never played a Silent Hill game at all.
Was that when did it come out? PS1 or PS2?
PS1 and PS2. So Silent Hill 2 was on PS2. Yeah. The first one was on PS1.
Yeah. I only rented the PS2, but a PS1 on a few random weekends. And then PS2, you know, if you really want to go back to older episodes of PlayStation Drive. I only played PS2 when I was at my ex-girlfriend's house. That was it. So didn't really have any other options to play Silent Hill 2.
Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, Silent Hill was also on the original Xbox at the time too. Like Silent Hill 2, there's a version on that as well. Yeah, they did like it's interesting, Ron, because they did the base version of Silent Hill 2, then they did a upgraded version called the Restless Dreams version that appeared on Xbox. And then they did the greatest hits version of Silent Hill 2 on PS2 that then had even more content in it.
Wow.
So, yes, the release schedule for Silent Hill 2 is interesting. And also to get back to your point, and BA Max mentions in the chat about Alan Wake being very meh. I like Alan Wake 2 a lot, but I personally actually think you'll probably enjoy Silent Hill 2 more, if I'm being honest.
I'll agree. Even though I think you'll like Alan Wake 2 more than Alan Wake 1. Alan Wake 1 was...
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Alan Wake 2 is way better than Alan Wake 1.
So you'll like Alan Wake 2, I think.
But
you guys said the story's connected. It's one full experience. Like I have to watch a video.
YouTube video for that first one. You don't. If you're complaining about the mechanics in Beyond Good and Evil, you're not gonna enjoy Alan Wake 1.
I was gonna say when certain enemies come up later in the game, you're gonna be real sad.
Yeah, man.
But that's just how.
Okay, forget it.
But anyways, we should probably shift into our topic of the week. So, speaking of stealthy games, going all the way back to something Matt was talking about, 20 minutes ago, we're going to talk about stealth games because this has actually come up a lot lately with Star Wars Outlaws and Beyond Good and Evil Remastered and a bunch of other games because stealth right now making a comeback, a surprising comeback, one might say. And we want to talk about how we feel about stealth games. Just an open conversation. Not really any games in particular, unless we want to talk about specific examples. But Ron, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about just stealth on the rise in games, and how do you think about just stealth games in general?
I mean, it's always good to have extra options out there for those who are stealth fans, and there's plenty of them out there. It's just I'm more of a weapons free kind of guy. I find that when it's a strictly stealth game, I'm usually not really into them. There are exceptions to that rule. For some odd reason, that first Splinter Cell, I did enjoy that. It's as frustrating as it could be. It was something about that first Splinter Cell that just kind of I just kept playing that and all the way to the end. But there were some frustrations with that one. I enjoy Hitman. I shouldn't, because Hitman is plenty of stealth all in that one, and assassins, they're supposed to be able to take damage. For some reason, Agent 47 can't. But outside of that, man, it's really most of the time I just can't really dig it like that. If it's strictly stealth, insta-fail stealth, I don't vibe with it. I prefer stealth where I can kind of fight my way out. And I find myself playing more stealth when I actually can fight my way out. The later Assassin's Creed games, the stealth is kind of basic in those, but if I can go through a whole camp, at least I know if I end up getting caught or I mess something up, I can fight my way out. Mm-hmm. So that kind of stealth is good. I do enjoy that. But for the most part, like I said, I'll try to sit there and avoid stealth games as it's strictly just a whole game of nothing but stealth. I gotta have something to shake it up a little bit and at least be able to fight my way out. Or let me do a Far Cry 3 and just sit off in the woods somewhere and pick a whole camp off with my sniper rifle. Yeah. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing I enjoy.
That's one of the things, actually, with the example you brought up with Splinter Cell. That's one of the things that they did much better with the sequels to Splinter Cell versus the original, where the idea of if you get caught, it's not game over. You can get yourself out of that situation. In most cases, there are like one or two missions that sometimes are like stealth only, but for the most part, they're usually like they offer you a myriad of ways of getting out of trouble if you do get caught. Which I think I agree with you. I think is always the better scenario.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to go. I had a friend that I tried to get him on a Splinter Cell, but he was not a fan. He didn't make it out of the tutorial. The Damn It Fisher thing was really getting to him.
Oh, tell me about this tutorial, please.
He didn't enjoy the tutorial. He didn't get out of it. He called me and he was super upset. He was like, "How the hell did you beat this game?"
Was it because he didn't know to shoot the lights out and then hide in the shadows?
Look, I wasn't there, so I couldn't walk him through it. But I was like, "Well, where are you at?" Because I thought he actually had gotten into like the game proper. And he was like, "I haven't got out of the tutorial yet." I'm like, "Say what?" Like, what? So yeah, he did. He dropped the game after that. He didn't even want to push forward. I tried to talk him into it, and he was done. So, yeah.
I mean, never played a Splinter Cell game. I've never played one.
What?
Is it just stealth, or can you fight your way through?
It gets better, like Ryan said, as the games go on. Blacklist, I think, pretty much nailed it where you can play any kind of way you want it. If you want to do a little bit of stealth,
Okay.
but you get caught, you can shoot your way out. I enjoy Blacklist quite a bit. I know people, poo-poo on that one, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, Conviction also was a very similar.
I haven't played
game as
that one yet, but
that game
do
is
have it.
basically you're basically just playing the board identity with that game though. Like that's what it feels like you're playing with that game. So it's very much like basically when from Chaos Theory on, they got really good about the stealth stuff, like giving you options if you did get caught to get out of it. But what do you about you, Matt? What do you think about stealth games? Do you like to be all sneaky, just sneaking in like that?
I hate it because I suck at it. That's the truth. I can't stand it. Like it is a true miracle that I'm an MGS fan. Like it doesn't make any logical sense because like games like Skyrim, it's like the thief stuff. It's like no thanks. Like I'm like Ron. It's like just let me punch my way through and hit everybody. So yeah, I don't. I'm curious. I'm trying to objectively think like why do I like the MGS games? Because I like the stories. I know they go out to outer space sometimes. Literally, not literally, but they go all over the place. But I don't know. I guess it's less forgiving. I don't know. I have to go back and think about why I like the game so much. But generally speaking, I don't like sneaking around because I'm really bad at it, and it causes me quite a bit of stress, especially games where it's like you have to sneak through like 5 or 6 parts, and it's like instant fail, and you go all the way back to the
that
beginning. Like
sucks.
it is rage inducing. Like like I can't. Like I think there's a part in Breath of the Wild where you have to sneak through against some ninjas or something, and like
Yep.
it gets very aggravating. Yeah, Ryan knows what I'm talking about. It's very aggravating. So like for me, for somebody who sucks at it, like I really need the option. I'm not saying that I'm totally against it, like, but I need options where it's like, you can at least fight your way through it. But if it's just like this is the only way to do it, I can't stand it. And that's kind of one aspect of Beyond Good and Evil. Like there were instant fail parts, and like there was one part where I think there was like 4 enemies, and I was like, I'm gonna kill each one so that I can explore carefully. I kill one, and then the other 3 I couldn't. No matter what I tried, I really, really couldn't. And I was like banging my head against the wall until I was like, fine, let me try to sneak my way through. That is the only way to get through. At least to my knowledge. I haven't looked up YouTube videos. Maybe there's somebody better than me that shows you how to kill them properly, but I couldn't. And I was like, okay, if the rest of the game is like this, where it's like there's only one way to get through, and it's sneaking through without instant fail, I can't do this for the rest of the game. Like it's gonna kill me. And then there were a lot of driving missions in Beyond Good and Evil, and again, I just got PTSD from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth of like mini games. I'm like, you know what? No, I just can't. That's kind of what compounded in my sense. But for stealth games, yeah, like it really depends. Like even like with The Last of Us, especially part one, where that game really doesn't force you, but it encourages you. Like if you fight your way through, it's really tough. Like you're gonna waste so many resources, and you're probably and I know because I've done it. I would die several times. So that's fine though. At least it's my way of doing stuff, and I've gone back and played it, at least 3 or 4 times, and then after I'm, comfortable with how I've played the game, I'll try the stealth way. I don't mind, and then I can see like, oh, this is way faster, way more efficient. But I just need options. I don't know. I'm not able to see like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, and then get through. I just can't map it out. Whereas I know some people, they get a thrill from it. Like I know that I mean, that's why stealth games are its own genre. People like Splinter Cell, people like MGS. So I know for a fact, but it's just not for me. Just like how, what are those games called? Like the Hades games.
Roguelikes.
Roguelikes.
Yeah, roguelikes, whatever they are. Like I can't stand this stuff. Like it's just not for me. Just like I think a big part of it with stealth games is it feels like I'm not progressing. If I'm spending like half an hour just trying to get there and I keep have to restart, it feels like I'm not progressing. I think that's one of the biggest things for me. So it really depends. I prefer that there's options. It's not that I'm totally against it because I know some people like it, but as long as there's variety, even if it is stealth only, then at least give me multiple ways to sneak through, not just one, because I'm an idiot. At least there needs to be like 5 or 10 different ways, so I could at least muscle my way through, or just brute force my way through. Like I don't know. Like even like Ryan, would you say Resident Evil 2 remake is a stealth game? I wouldn't say it is, but you can sneak around if you want to, right?
It's not a stealth game, but you can play it in stealth if you want to.
That's what I mean. Like on the multiple runs, the first time I played, it's like I killed most things, and then I can peacefully, get through. But after playing it a few times, like I don't mind sneaking around, and just avoiding stuff. So I like the options.
Yeah, it's as much of a stealth game as Far Cry is, because Far Cry also is not a stealth game, but you can be very stealthy and get through the game a lot quicker that way.
Get you a good sniper rifle and song.
Yeah, just sneak up and get him. Fulia, how about you? The sneaky koala over there, as one might say.
I have played my fair share of stealth games. Granted, I'm not the type of person who enjoys stealth games, so I played through the first Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. That has a lot of stealth in it that I wasn't really a big fan of, because
I was going to say, we got
to
a mention of that in the chat here. Yeah, about it.
Yeah, there are sections in that game that you have to be stealthy in order to progress. And it really bugs me, because I'm like, well, what if I can't? I mean, I managed to get through it all and all that sort of stuff, but it is a little difficult for me. The stealth version that I do like is in Persona 5, where it allows you to go, rather than actually sneaking up, it like you press a button and you hide behind something, and then you sort of jump between those hiding spots. That stealth is okay. I don't mind that kind of stealth. At least that way I know I can manage to do it without getting caught. And I can be, I can go at my own pace with that. The Lego games also do a really good job of being sneaky if you have to be sneaky, even though it's not really a stealth. It's not really a stealth game, but there are going to be sections in some of those Lego games where you need to be sneaky to get around things. So that kind of stuff I do, I don't mind it. But yeah, it's stuff that's like in Uncharted, where you have to, Assassin's Creed. Oh gosh, don't even get me started. I've tried playing Assassin's Creed 3, and the fact that you have no choice but to be stealthy in that game, I was like, well, I'm never going to be able to get past this, because it's too hard.
What's funny when you see that, Fulia, is that the old Assassin's Creed games were very much stealth first games in a lot of ways, and they have a lot of missions where you have to do stealth, and if you get caught, then it instantly fails the mission. And then when they moved away from that idea with the later Assassin's Creed games, like starting with Syndicate, where they made it so that if you did get caught, you had lots of options to get out of it. People complained. They were upset. They wanted it to just go back to being stealth only.
Make up your minds, people.
And it's just like the opposite of what you talked about, because you're right. Like, I think that brings a lot more people into it, where stealth is not the only option. Like, when you have a myriad of ways around it, where if you want to play it stealth, awesome. Where if you want to play as Jacob Fry, who specializes in like throwing grenades and blowing stuff up, like you can do that too in the same game. So, and tackle the missions two different ways if you want to.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah,
and so I am the type of person who would prefer to just go in guns blazing. So,
yep.
It is.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's me.
I'm sensing a pattern on this panel here. Everyone likes to go in guns blazing. Well, you know who doesn't like to go guns in blazing? This person, Ryan Turford. I'm the one person that's going to represent stealth on the panel. I actually like stealth a lot. And if there's a game where stealth is an option, I'm always going to take the stealthy route. Like your example, I think, Ron, you mentioned Elder Scrolls earlier, or was it Matt? With Elder Scrolls, I play as a stealthy character when I play Elder Scrolls games, because I'm sneaking around. I almost make like a character that's like a ninja in a lot of ways. Because I don't know, I just like kind of being sneaky, getting the bonuses, for example, for being sneaky, whether it's Elder Scrolls where you get like that sneak attack bonus where your first attack does like double damage. So you can really like take off a lot of person's health if you use like a bow and arrow or something from far away if they don't see you. Or even just Assassin's Creed, like the modern day Assassin's Creed games, where even though, stealth isn't the main focus, I love just going through a base of enemies and not getting caught and just sneaking around and just murdering everyone.
Yep.
Because that's just my style when I play a lot of games, is usually stealth. But I'm glad, Fulia, you brought up Uncharted, because my biggest pet peeve as someone who likes stealth is games that are not stealth games that shoe in stealth as a way to break up the gameplay, but don't do it well and do it terribly, like Uncharted, as an example, where the stealth levels in that game are not great. But the even more egregious example to me was Final Fantasy 15, before the Royal Edition came out, when the launch version of the game came out, because multiple levels of that game were stealth levels, and they were fail upon being spotted levels, and they were some of the most frustrating levels I played in any Final Fantasy game. So, like, I was just like, stealth never needs to be in Final Fantasy ever, unless it's kind of like the Persona style, like you talked about, Fulia. Because I think, like, if you're doing like a turn-based role-playing game, I think that's kind of like the way to do it if you're going to do stealth in a game.
I think also Spider-Man does a good job with the stealth as well, because it's not just stealth as well, it's also the action side of it. So if you do get caught, you can just keep going with the fight, and it's fine. So because that's the problem with me when I had started playing Spider-Man, that I got to a point where, like, I would sneak around, but there'd be points that I'd get caught and be like, crap, now I gotta kill everyone.
When I was playing Spider-Man 2, if I was going through, like, clearing out an outpost and I was, being super stealthy and I got caught, I would just restart the mission and just do it over again, because I wanted to kill everyone individually, just take them out and solve kind of like the puzzle of going around the arena and getting around and getting everyone without getting caught. And kind of like finding the lines. It's like, okay, I don't wait for watch this person's position as they move this way, so then I can hop around them, get this person, and then hop around and get the person that then walking away.
And the one thing that I will also mention, that stealth, some games that have stealth elements, like Spider-Man does, I'm pretty sure there's like trophies that you can achieve for being stealthy as well, which is also at least a nice reward. At least you did it, and then you can be like, yes, I got it, and you feel good about it.
I mean, that's how you have to get what you have to do in order to get the Resident Evil 2 trophy, Matt, for never getting hit, because there's a trophy for that. But
yeah, there is one. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of juking in that one for sure. I remember.
Yeah, you have to
that wasn't
juke
easy.
around and like very sneaky, essentially. Because they do that for all the Resident Evil games, and there's actually one in Silent Hill 2 that's like that too. So, because of course there is, because there's like 10 different endings for that game, Matt, and I mean, and there's like a ton of replay value with that game. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, just wait. It's very exciting. But, yeah, stealth. That's what we think about stealth games. For the most part, again, everyone on the panel doesn't really love stealth, but I love stealth, and I think stealth should be in more games. But I also just playing Star Wars Outlaws, like I don't think the stealth was really implemented in that game, and I just feel like there's a lot of modern games that kind of fall into that trap I mentioned, where it's like they're kind of forcing stealth for stealth's sake, and that's my one pet peeve, is that I don't like it when that happens, where you're forced to do stealth, but the stealth isn't really well put together. Now, in this gem of a game, Inspector Gadget's Crazy Maze on the PlayStation 1, there is some stealth elements in this game as well, because you're sneaking around some...
Well, you're a spy. You have to be.
Exactly. You're walking around, and there's other dudes in like trench coats walking around looking for Inspector Gadget, but you're just sneaking by him because you don't want the claw to find you. So... there you go. That was the only time this episode I'm going to reference Inspector Gadget's Crazy Maze on the PlayStation 1.
Not what I was expecting from that game.
Look, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, this is actually a reference to the after show that we didn't record from last week. So, there you go. All right, let's bring in some of the PlayStation Drive community, starting with Buggy, who says, to be honest, I used to enjoy stealth games a lot more, but not so much nowadays. But one thing I do think needs to be present in stealth games or stealth sections of games is the ability to correct mistake. Get seen and it's over doesn't really work for me. I like how Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell, at least up at the third game and beyond, never played like that or approach it. Or the Sly Cooper games too. Like if you get caught, but you can still manage to escape and retry, which is exactly what we were talking about. Where, I think a lot of games that give you that stealth as an option, but don't making it the mandatory option, I think is the good way to go with a lot of stuff. Unless your whole game is just stealth, then in which case, sure, just be a stealth game if you want to be a stealth game. Tim Paullin says, stealth needs to be optional, like Far Cry sneaking around a base, taking out enemies with the crossbow until you get spotted, then release hell on them with a grenade launcher. I mean, yeah, that's what people do.
Far Cry, those early ones. Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our stealth discussion. Let's hear from the rest of the community with the rest of our questions, starting with Quaggy, who says, it is I, the Quaggy, King of the Xenobabes, and also Emperor of the Falcon Empire. Caw-caw, caw-caw! What are your thoughts on stealth games, and why do you think they're hot trash in the summer? Hashtag weapons free. Well, Quacky, that was our topic that we just talked about that.
Damn.
Weapons free. Weapons
I
free.
really should have read that before we did the topic, but whatever. YOLO,
It's okay. I mean, some stealth games, when they're doing right, are good. Like Dishonored. I enjoy that series. You know, I don't know how many bodies I dropped in that one. That was good stuff. And I did a lot of stealth in that because, once again, if you get caught and you mess up, you can fight your way out.
Yeah, it's optional. You're not required to play stealthy at all in that game if you don't want to.
Yeah, you can murder everybody in sight, weapons free if you want.
Yeah, you also get punished for murdering people in that game.
You do. I took it a little easy in that first one since they, the rat plague if you do too much. So I kind of balanced it out well. I kept it in check.
Yeah. Well, now, next up we got Drellesh, Bowslayer of Legends, who says, "Greetings, PlayStation Drive crew. Long-time listener, part-time caller here. I'm curious if any of you have experienced what many consider to be the most formative stealth games ever, Thief: The Dark Project, released in 1998 by Looking Glass Studios. This groundbreaking title was my first foray into stealth gaming, and I still have my copy tucked away. Thief was revolutionary in its approach, focusing on avoiding detection rather than combat. The game's unforgiving nature meant that often a single hit could spell doom to the player. While this created an intense and immersive experience, I found it incredibly challenging and frustrating at times. In fact, that might be the reason why I don't enjoy stealth games as much today. So my question for y'all, have any of you ever played a stealth game that, despite its quality or innovation, actually soured your experience with the genre moving forward? If so, what was it about that game that turned you off from stealth gameplay? So that's the thing. I don't think there's one that's made me, as someone who likes stealth, there's hasn't been a game that's made me sour on the genre. But again, my example would be Final Fantasy 15, where shoehorning in stealth into a game that doesn't need stealth at all because it's an action RPG is exactly the type of example I would give for a question like this, where it just makes me hate the fact that stealth is even a thing that exists because it exists in a game that shouldn't have it. But I'm curious to know what y'all think about this.
I agree with you. Pretty much the same thing. Any stealth game that I have played, I've enjoyed, even though it's not really my genre. But like you said, shoehorning in Gravity Rush 2, I think that was what made me really drop that game. It was just too much. It was too much. And it was insta-fail, and that should never be in a game like that.
I forgot about that. I blocked that out of my memory.
I wish I had.
Ron. Now, the real question for you, Ron, when the Gravity Rush movie comes out, will they have live-action stealth sequences in the Gravity Rush movie that if they caught, it's an instant fail for the movie?
No, the movie's going to struggle enough. They don't need to have that in it.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, it'll do better than the Borderlands movie, I think, at least.
That might not be hard to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you, Fully or Matt? Do you guys have a response to this one?
You've never played Thief: The Dark Project, so sorry, Michael. I don't know what that game is, and I still play stealth games. I don't think there's been one that's soured me from the genre, but obviously there's been stealth games that I'm not playing this anymore, like Beyond Good and Evil 2. And funny enough, MGS5 was playing it, and the stealth got to me, and I was like, you know what? I almost abandoned it, but because I am such a fan of the entire series, I'm just gonna shelve it. So I will come back to it just to give it at least one more try. But yeah, some of the stealth in MGS5 just really got to me. Plus, no David Hayter doing the voice acting. What are you doing there, Konami? Come on.
I'm glad he's back for Delta. Metal Gear Solid Delta. David Hayter is coming back.
It makes sense. Thank God.
Also, clearly you're not as much of a fan as Ron, who is, of course, Kojima's #1 fan.
Please believe me.
That's right.
Please believe me.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Ron, do you have tips? Yeah. How do I get through MGS5? What do I do?
Weapons
free. I can't get past the soldiers.
Weapons free, and don't pay attention to the story. Just go in, kill everything, and just get through it.
Matt, all you got to do is load up the helicopter with Take On Me by Aha and just go in there guns blazing and have the helicopter fly overhead, blasting Take On Me over the enemies.
All right. I'll keep everyone posted with Ron and Ryan's strats and let everyone know how that goes for me.
Weapons free.
All right. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, for me, Assassin's Creed definitely made me sour from playing stealth games. So that's my game that soured me from playing stealth games. That doesn't mean that I haven't played games that have some stealth elements in it. I don't mind it when they have elements of stealth, but when the whole game is all about being sneaky, then I'm just like, yeah, nah, no, thank you.
Like Thief: The Dark Project, which literally
Yeah,
is. That's
Yeah.
the
I've
whole
never
point of
played
that
that,
game.
so-
Yeah, I know of Thief, but that was a multi-pass for me from day one when I heard there was nothing but stealth all the way through. And you couldn't fight your way out because the guy was flimsy? No, thank you.
I mean, I like stealth, and I didn't even play that game back then. So, just throwing it out there. Also, BA Mac brings up a great example too. GTA San Andreas sneaking to get the rhythm book.
Oh, wow,
almost
I
made me
forgot
quit
about
the
that.
game. GTA and stealth do not mix. And yes, every time Grand Theft Auto mixes in stealth, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's usually not good.
No,
I
it's
forgot about that. Oh, man.
It's always bad. It's always bad. But all right, next up we got Croco Kyle, who says with Sucker Punch recently stating that Ghost of Yotei's open world will be less receptive, less repetitive than Ghost of Tsushima. It got me thinking. What do you think? What do you look for in an open world game? What can make an open world experience great? And what are some things that can drag it down in your opinion? What are some games that you think nailed the open world formula? Well, I'll tell you one thing that can really drag down an open world game. Taking 100 mini games and then throwing them into a giant open world and getting you to play them and having the mini games not be really fun at all can really drag down
Ryan.
an open world game.
Shout out from your lungs, Ryan. Thank you. Unbelievable.
I had to say it before you got to it, Matt, because clearly that's like, honestly, Rebirth, as much as I liked that game, as I've gotten farther away from it and I look back on that game, I'm like, man, that open world design is not good. It's not good at all. It's actually kind of terrible, which is too bad. Because everything else about that game is great. Like the fact that that's not even in conversation for my personal game of the year this year at this point just is because of that. Is because of the open world design at this point. But
very
curious to know what
frustrating.
y'all think about this.
I can't believe that they said that they said they're going to make it less repetitive. I didn't find Ghost of Tsushima's open world repetitive at all. I felt like there was a lot of variety in terms of like, doing haikus, finding the foxes, taking down enemy bases, and for the most part they're optional. Like you don't have to do all that stuff. Me personally, like I feel like that needs to be the right balance for open world design. It's like give me all the options to do these different types of missions, and again make sure it's there's a variety to them, but make it optional. Like if you don't want to mainline it, it might be a little bit harder because you're not leveling up, which is fine, but at least there's the option to do it versus like forcing you, or just feels very forced or tacked on. Like I don't know, I enjoyed doing all that stuff in Ghost of Tsushima, so a little curious to see what they mean by making it less repetitive. Does that mean there's more variety, or if it's a shorter game? I'm curious to see what that's like. So I feel like that's the most important thing for me. And then for me personally, the ones that have done it the best is like, this is not just open world. It's like, do what you want, how you want, when you want. So the biggest one for me is it's got to be Botwa and Totki. It's like, you can get here however you want, do any dungeon you want. Just like Yawa,
Who?
Botwa, and Totki.
That
Legend
game
of
that
Zelda
plays
games,
on a
right?
potato.
I
from
need
Ron's
you
Farm?
to
Yes.
actually say the
Yes.
words for the people who do not listen to the Nintendo Drive. Spell them out
Come
and
on.
say it.
No. Spell it. I did spell it out. Botwa, Totki,
Spell the whole
and
word.
Yao.
Spell
Just
the whole
say
word.
Breath of
and
the
say it.
Wild and Tears of the Kingdom so we can move on, please. Matt. For God's sake.
You know what I'm talking about. You know
I'll
what
say
I'm
it
talking
with you.
about.
I'll say it with you.
Botwa?
Matt's been banished to the Shadow Realm. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
That's how it is, friends. That's how we roll in carpool gaming.
That's what happens when you lose to a duel to a rare hunter in Yu-Gi-Oh! They banish you to the Shadow Realm, just like that.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
goodness. Oh man.
I don't know. I just want to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Phil.
no,
I like the
finish off.
freedom. That's what I wanted to
Okay.
say. The freedom to do what you want, how you want. That's what I like.
Well, for me, when I play an open world game, I do appreciate a good map. At least so that I know where I'm going. One that actually also gives me an idea sort of in what direction I'm going. So sometimes they'll be like, it'll have a marker of where you are and it'll show you which way you're facing in terms of the map on the map. And then you can look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I need to go that way in that direction. Or, there's nothing worse than having to run around trying to find things. So, fast travel. is also another thing that I really love about an open world game, especially something that's really big. Like, I know Final Fantasy 16 was really big map, so it definitely needed those fast travel points. Even Pokemon Legends Arceus, that one also had like a really big sort of map, and they had multiple sort of section areas that you had to go to. So it was nice to have fast travel points to certain points in those sections. So yeah, fast travel and a good map is definitely worth having in an open world game because it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Especially for someone with like me who gets lost half the time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually am a big fan of open zone games more than open world games, like Rise of the Tomb Raider being a perfect example of what I'm looking for in an open world, where you have like open world sections, but you don't have this like huge area where you can go anywhere. Because I'm the type of person that just doesn't want to go everywhere all at once and see things. Like I like kind of being in these more kind of these smaller, highly detailed areas instead, that you're still feeling like you're traveling from place to place, but you're not actually traversing this giant open world and walking for 10 to 15 minutes in one direction to go do something. Like I like that more. So that's more what I'm looking for, like an open world game, is like an open zone kind of experience where it's like a smaller and more compact open world with lots of things to do. But yeah,
it's pretty good actually. I didn't think about that. I forgot about Rise.
That game's real good still. So.
It is. I'm kind of with Matt though on Ghost of Tsushima being kind of like that's probably about the best one I think I've played, where it's a good mix of where it's not too much, and there's a good rhythm to it. You can kind of tackle it how you want, like you can with any open world game, but it doesn't feel overwhelming when it comes to Ghost. I remember Forbidden West. Once you kind of got outside that intro area, good grief. I mean, when you sit there and got a chance to kind of just like look at that whole map, it's like an icon generator just barfed all over the map. I was just like, this is ridiculous. And I did it because it's just something about when you see that, you have to, if you're going to platinum the game and you're going to do everything, you have no choice pretty much but to tackle that stuff. And that in Valhalla, that was too much. So both of them, I think they can learn a little bit from Ghost of Tsushima, where you could have that stuff there, but too much is just not a good thing. And yes, it's optional, but for completists or people who are going for platinum trophies, it can be a mess and it can be a bit overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right, next up we got the captain who says, "It's sneaky time. You walk into your kitchen and find an iPad has appeared on your worktop. You walk over and pick it up. Words start to appear on the blank screen. You have a new mission. Hackers have stolen thousands of gigabytes of data from Sony and have kidnapped Herman Hulst. They have Herman and the data held in a secure location with armed guards, laser alarms, and all that stuff. You must get back the stolen data, and if you can, for bonus experience, save Herman in the process. You get to choose one protagonist from a stealth game to assist you. Who's that going to be? And of course, this iPad will self-destruct in 10 seconds. First of all, I love the creativity
Captain
with this question.
It's great.
Yeah.
So good.
Bravo. So who's a stealth protagonist that's going to help save Herman Hulst? For me, I mean, I'm just going to take him right away. I'm going to say Solid Snake. Solid Snake,
yes.
Representing the PlayStation, going back all the way to the PS1. Of course, he's got to be the one to save Herman Hulst, the current lead at PlayStation. So, Solid Snake, man, any day of the week. He'll sneak in there with his cardboard box. He'll use his cigarette to figure out where the lasers are, just like you did in Metal Gear 1. He'll talk to me over Kodak. It'll be great, But what are all y'all's answers to this?
I would have to take Sam Fisher over Solid Snake. Sam?
What?
Nah, I have to. Yeah.
Is it because
Sam is all business,
Ironside?
man. He's not going to get in there with cardboard boxes and be clowning around. Sam's going to get in there and get the job done and be all business. And he's going to probably sit there and save Herman in the process. So he's going to get everything that he needs. I was going to pick Agent 47 at first, but I was like, Agent 47 might just go for, the data and let Herman die. I don't need that happening. I need somebody who's going to go for it all. And that's going to be old Sam Fisher.
Nice.
It's true. I'm going to go with Ryan's take two. It's got to be Solid Snake and David Hayter, Solid Snake, not, what was the other guy? Kiefer Sutherland? No,
Yep,
it's got to be David Hayter. Yeah, it's got to be David Hayter's Solid Snake, and I'll be quite honest. I'm gonna tell Solid Snake, when you get in there and you find Herman, you gotta ask him, do you have a 30th anniversary controller for Matt? And if the answer is no, you leave him there, get the data, and get back out. You got a controller.
Wow.
Cold-blooded, Matt.
Hey,
You mean to tell me that
that's how-
you don't
that's how
want
I
the
go.
bonus XP that you would get for saving him?
I want the controller, not the XP.
If you're going to ask
know
for a
what the
controller,
XP
Matt,
can
why don't you ask him about a 30th edition Pro? You might
I
as well
don't,
go
I don't need
for
a
it
pro.
all.
No, I'm not greedy. I'm not greedy. Just a simple man. I don't even want the DualSense Edge. I just want the controller. That's it, Herman. That's all I'm asking for your life. I don't think I'm asking for too much here.
Oh, I've been surprised that you didn't send Sly Cooper in to help you. What?
No, I'm a big fan of Solid Snake. I can't. He's going in the box. Going in there with style. Come on.
Anybody with common sense is going to see that cardboard box and know what's going on.
That's not
Not
true.
the enemies. That's not true. Not in the enemies in Metal Gear Solid.
I mean, Ron, not only were the enemies in Metal Gear Solid smart, but they also were enhanced by nanomachines.
Oh,
made
God.
them
That
even
makes it
smarter.
even worse. That makes it even
Even
worse.
smarter,
Exactly.
which means they're the smart guards, okay?
Oh, boy.
Oh god. It's true.
As
Yeah.
for me, I would probably ask Spider-Man to help me because he's got all the gadgets and he can sneak around on the top and get around on the walls and sort of not have to worry about any of those lasers and alarms, and he can deactivate all that stuff and then he'll be able to save Herman at the same time. So,
He's
yeah.
probably used to dealing with that already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like dealing with infiltrating Kingpin's place. He's probably has to dealt with like a few laser alarms and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
He's already got a good resume for that. So
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Good pick.
So the real answer, of course, is Cat from Gravity Rush. That's the real answer. All right, moving on.
Oh.
I knew you'd love that, Ron. B.A. Mac actually brings a good one. Batman is also a good option, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Arkham series
Yeah.
Batman.
Good pick. Very good pick.
All right. Next up, Kiku asks, I don't find stealth enjoyable at all, whether it's a full game or just a section of a game. Just let me destroy everyone, and then I don't have to worry about there being anyone left to see me. For my question, though, what is the strangest game you've ever played? For me, Katamari Damacy is definitely up there as one of the weirder ones, going around and rolling everyone and everything up with giant balls and then turning them into stars. That is
that's a weird
one
game.
Really weird game.
It is.
I mean, I have a couple examples because y'all all, of course, know I've played some games in my life and some bad
bad.
games,
Yeah,
some
games.
weird games. Pepsi Man's not even the weirdest game. Pepsi Man isn't even the weirdest.
I'm sure it's not.
I would say actually Hong Kong 97 is probably the weirdest game I've ever played.
Never even heard
Never
of
heard
that.
that
What?
one.
That is a Super Famicom game that was never officially released, but of course historians recovered an original cartridge of it that existed, and then the ROM got done on the online and everyone got to try it. That's a game where Bruce Lee, the country of Hong Kong, hires Bruce Lee's cousin Chin, played by Jackie Chan, who's there to
Oh my
stop
gosh.
this like evil dictator, and it's this whole the one of the weirdest games I've ever played. There's random Coca-Cola ads in it.
Hold on, I think
It's
I
got a
have it
crazy
for you.
story. If people want to go learn about it, there's a whole Angry Video Game Nerd episode all about Hong Kong 97.
Oh my
That's
goodness
really
gracious.
well done.
Nice.
We should
Very
show this
nice.
on the screen, Fulia. I'm just
Oh,
gonna.
okay, fair enough. But
It's,
yeah, it's
mature.
there.
You can watch it, Fulia, but I would not throw that on the screen.
Oh, man.
Because it's very bloody.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's definitely the weirdest game. And it's not good. It's a terrible game. It's even weirder than Pepsi Man, and Pepsi Man's already a weird game.
Yeah, that is. That's saying a lot.
Wow.
Or I mean, the Penn and Teller game for Sega CD is also really weird too, because Penn and Teller are really weird magician dudes. But then you give them a whole game, and it's just like, what are we doing here?
Didn't even know they had a video game. This is, wow.
Yeah. Ron. Have you ever heard the game Desert Bus? So Desert Bus is a game where you play as a bus driver and you drive down the highway and you can't actually stop or pause the game. You just keep driving down the road, the desert road. And it's just 8 hours of that as you
I
accumulate
remember you
1
mentioning this.
point
My
every
brain
8 hours.
always erases it when you mention it. It's like,
The reason why I mentioned Desert Bus is it's one of the included games in Penn and Teller's Smoke
oh
and
my
Mirrors for the
God.
Sega CD.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Also, the crisscross video game from Sega CD is really weird too.
Oh
But,
my God.
yeah. Well, there you go. Who else has played weird games besides me? Anyone? Crazy
I haven't
Bus?
played anything that's really weird outside of maybe the Artful Escape, but that was like a good weird. That's about it though.
Okay.
I'm. Go ahead, Fulia.
I Bug Snacks is probably the weirdest for me. Just
In a good way,
going
though.
around-
In a good way.
It's yeah, and but it's like it's also weird that you're these people people are eating, these NPCs are eating these bugs, and parts of their limbs turn into those particular bugs. Just like, huh? It's a science experiment gone wrong, and I don't know.
It is, that one is out there. I liked it though.
Yeah.
It's a bit dark. I really, if I can only pick one, I think I'm still gonna have to go with Stanley Parable. We played it for the backtrackers. It's fun, it's quirky, but it's very fourth wall breaking. Like, are you playing a video game? Have you rolled credits? And I'm like, that's what I'd like to know. Have I rolled credits? Should I continue playing?
Why
I
don't
know.
you tell me?
It's
Yeah. Did you
why
ever
don't you
beat
tell
it?
me? And I think I did. I don't know.
We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk after the show's
know.
over with. I can tell you
Yeah.
if you beat it or not. I actually played it.
I think I did, but it's just parts where it can tell you that you're going for a trophy and the game starts cheering you on for. I think it's like opening a bunch of doors in like a certain amount of time. It's like, yeah, you can do it, you can do it. So I open all the doors and then applause goes on as you pop the trophy. I'm like, what is this game?
It's an odd game.
It's very meta. Yeah, it's very fourth wall breaking. It's very clever. Isn't there a trophy where like you have to play it again like 10 years?
Yeah.
I played
something
it
like
on
that.
Yeah, you have
PC,
to play
so
it
I'm
10
not
years
sure.
later.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's one.
it's out there. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, that is probably the strangest game I've ever played, and I'm glad I did, because I never played like something like that ever again.
Nice. I'm about to sneeze. Well, well, Matt, you brought up a good point with that one, because actually I would say like my favorite weird game that also does something very similar to that is Doki Doki Literature Club. Because like you have to go in and like mess with system files in that game, and it's also very fourth wall breaking in some really interesting ways. And of course, I love horror games. And it's very much a horror game, despite the fact that it is very cute and colorful. So that game is probably my favorite weird game. But yeah, a lot of good weird games out there. I mean, I didn't even talk about Phantasmagoria. Phantasmagoria is a weird game too. So lots of interesting stuff out there. Well, then, final question of the week comes to us from Black Wyver, who says, number one, what games do you think failed terribly at stealth? I think we kind of already talked about that a little
Gravity
bit.
Rush 2 all day.
Yeah.
Sure did.
I talked
wow.
about Final Fantasy 15, and you talked about Gravity Rush 2. I feel like those are probably two of the worst examples. Oh, and Uncharted. 3 really bad examples. But then Black Wyver continues. Also, we are now 9 months into the year. What are your current top 3 games that you've played this year, not restricted to this year? So this is going to be tough because we have a Game of the Year show that we'll be recording in about a month or two where we're going to talk about this. So this is kind of like a preview, I guess, for that show, a gut check as to how we feel now about this. Honestly, I haven't really formed a top 3 yet, especially because this year has been kind of weird with the timings of things. But the 3 I'm going to mention is Astrobot, for one. It's got to be up there for my top 3 for sure. I loved Astrobot. In fact, I will be very surprised if something else beats it for my personal game of the year this year. I loved it that much. Final Fantasy 14 Dog Trail, I really enjoyed. Got to put it in my personal top 3. And then the other one would probably be right now. I'd say probably something like Persona 3 Reload is probably what I put in that 3rd spot. But yeah, it could be any number of things at this point. This is just my personal gut check at this point. But let's go around the horn. Ron, starting with you. What do you think?
For me, so far, I'd say Spider-Man 2, Ragnarok, and Centennial Case, A Shijima Story. Daybreak's going to probably be in there for sure, but I haven't finished it, so I won't count that right now.
Yeah. And likewise, for me, I would be very surprised if Silent Hill 2 is not one of my top 3, but I also haven't finished it either. So, Matt?
Sorry, PlayStation fans. Most of these aren't even PlayStation games. So for me, it's going to be Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And then it would probably, after that would be Xenoblade Chronicles 3, future redeemed. That's just pure fan service. It doesn't even make sense sometimes, but I'm all for it because I'm happy as a fan. And then the third one, it's such a toxic relationship I've had with this game, but I still would put Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just because I know that I know for a fact that if I did not go for the platinum and I just played it the way I wanted to and only did the stuff I really wanted to, I think it would be at the top of my list, like easily. And I know for a fact that just by banging my head through the mini games and all that stuff is what really soured the experience. I still listen to some of the music from the soundtrack, and I listen to like the boss battles, and I think about spending 5 hours on a summon battle at full might, and I love that stuff. Like I really, really enjoyed the combat, and I really missed that stuff from it. And I enjoyed the story for the most part of it, so that's still there despite how I did this to myself by trying to go for the platinum. And then I would be shocked if anything else knocks any of those three out, just because, again, the rest of my backlog is Crisis Core Reunion, MGS5, and Dragon Guard 3. I don't know if I'll get to all three of them by the end of this year, but I'm not sure that any of them will knock any of them out. There's a few Backtrackers game we'll still have to play, so it really depends. I mean, 1000X Resist, people keep telling me it's a near automata game. That's for indie games, so that one might have a chance if we play it. But so far, I think I'm pretty locked in for my top three as of now.
Okay. Nice. And yeah, Rebirth is like, again, like hovering around, but I don't know. I just, there's something about Persona 3 Reload that I think I enjoyed that experience, like overall a little bit more than Rebirth, despite the fact that the highs in Rebirth I think are much better than something like Persona 3. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. Fuya, how about you?
At the moment, it's probably going to be Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, Coffee Talk. I really enjoyed the story of Coffee Talk, and Astrobot.
Nice. That's a good list
Yeah.
too. That's all. Those are also like the games I kind of expected you to say too, from like our conversations throughout the year, especially Harmony.
Yeah.
I'm like, you talked about
Yeah.
Harmony so much. I'm like,
So much.
I would be
I
very
love that
surprised
game.
if that wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still need to play
It's
that at
definitely
some
going to be up there, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the PlayStation Drive. But before we go, we got to say thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on this podcast and the Xbox Drive. You can check out all of his music over at Purple Monkey Entertainment at the Linktree, linktr.ee/pme.jib. Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes. And TechMike, who says whether you're a Kevesi or Agnian, you're a Xenobabe at heart. And yes, TechMike, I know, yes, Cwagmire, I know you put the correct pronunciations in chat.
He did.
I'm going to continue to say it how I want to say them because they're made up names anyway. So
He said it the correct way. Yes.
see, there you
Did
go.
he?
Thanks,
Yeah,
Ron.
I'm the number one Xenoblade fan. Yep.
You know what? Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron, for acknowledging this.
Yeah. Please believe
Oh
me.
god.
All of our ultimate producers' content can always be found in the description of our podcast, so please make sure to support them as they support us, and they're really awesome. Our platinum producers, Smokin Joe, Solo, the Captain, and Tim Paullin, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, BobLoblaw, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Drellesh, Emily O'Kelly, Hoppel, Jan32, Kia Savoy, Ligerwoods 330, OldMrFrump, Patrice Mallette, Peje, Shane Erickson, TheDonRob, the Jiggy Collector, and Toxic. Once again, a huge thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to hop in the car with us, head over there, choose the tier that's right for you. And Ron, plugs go.
Savoy Prime on Twitter, PlayStation, Xbox, Backlogged, PSN Profiles, True Trophies, and Savoy_Prime on Twitter.
Nice. And Matt?
You can find me as Nagachaka in the Discord and on Twitter.
Nice. And Fuya?
You can find me at Foolish Fuji on X and Instagram. You can also find me over on YouTube and Twitch at Foolish Fuji as well. And for all that and more, you can head over to foolishfuji.card.co.
Card.co.
Card with 2 R's.
Card. And as for me, you can find me over on the old Twitter, aka X, at Ryan Torvin. You also find us on X at Carpool Gaming right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. And of course, twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live, where we are now doing all the shows. We're on Twitch now, by the way. Huge thank you to everyone who came out and watched our live streams so much in September. We decided we're going to do this all the time now. So shout out to y'all. And of course, podcast services around the globe. So For Fulia, Matt, and Ron, I'm Ryan. This has been the PlayStation Drive episode 170, and we're out. Good night, everybody.
Adios, friends.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this week's episode of the PlayStation Drive. Now, before you drive off, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Carpool Gaming on socials. Don't forget to check out our awesome merch on carpoolgaming.com, and you can also support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, where you'll unlock all kinds of exclusive content.